Shani, mine was not there actually.
I have not downloaded yours. Okay, 1 second. But I've seen yours. I think you were the first one to send it to me.
And could you please look at for mine?
Yeah. Sanjeev, good work. Good work. But like I said, half the slices can't be over here, half the slicer can't be over here. The reason being, then it feels like this area of the dashboard is governed by this slicer and this area is governed by this slicer.
Okay.
You understand?
Moreover, I couldn't find the slider, so I had to put this. Otherwise,
So the slider would be in, this is what you have is size setting. This is a horizontal one. So if I make it vertical, oh, these are too big. Why are they so big? And I'll turn on the slicer header. This is the slicer header and I'll make it between.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, then I can shift it there.
Yes. You can shift it there. And this is touching almost on the top. The header is over here. A line, like layout wise, I think we can do a better job.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But otherwise, color combination, everything looks good.
Okay, one more thing. I didn't find that edit connection somehow in my
Interaction, that's in the format.
yeah.
So you select something. For example, I select this one. Format will come on the top.
Yes.
And then edit interactions.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thanks.
You have to select a visualization for the format to come up.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's start. And then, like I said, we will, keep on doing this activity now that we are building up our, building up our dashboards as and when we progress. Okay. I want to start today with the concept of DAX because, we need to do a lot of calculations in order to create our dashboards that we are expected to. So what are DAX? Anyone has an idea what is a DAX? Very, very popular in Power BI, Power Queries in Excel.
It's like the calculated fields.
Like the calculated fields. Okay. Think about them more like functions of Excel.
Yeah.
Like you have functions in Excel. Right? Yes or no? You guys have functions in Excel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Similarly, the functions in Power BI are called DAX. So you will be, you might think, okay, DAX is a very terrible thing, but DAX are also like your functions of Excel. Something like a count A, length function, find function, all these are DAX functions. Okay, so DAX is basically the functions that we use in Power BI are categorized as DAX, and the full form of DAX is basically data analysis expressions that we use in Power BI. And there are two types that we will look at. One is called the calculated columns and one is called the measure. Okay, so let's go back over here. Let me do a save as. All right. So how do you create DAX? What is DAX? Remember when we went to our visualization, when we were in Power Query and we were creating things like custom column and we were creating things like index column and things like that. So all these columns that you were creating over here, conditional column that you were creating over here, any kind of little bit of functions that we used out over here in the transformation, all of them can be dealt with directly in the report view without coming into transformation. So when we created, let's say, conditional column, what did we use? We use an if function, but we didn't write a function. So if I write a function in a DAX function of if, then it becomes a DAX function. Otherwise, how am I using it? I'm using it as a conditional column. So a lot of calculations, you will feel that what we have done already in transformation, we are going to use the formulas or we are going to use the functions in order to do the same work. Now, if you are comfortable in transformation, because over here you don't have to write anything, the tools are there, you just click and get your work done. So it might be that you're more happy in the transformation part, but there are certain calculations that we definitely, you need to work with DAX functions. We cannot do it in transformation, right? Now there are two type of DAX, like it was given in my PPT. So before you create a DAX, let's say if I wanted to create a DAX in sales, right? So I do a right click. On the top, you see new measure in a new column. So these are the two type of calculations you can do. You can either do a new column or you can do a new measure. Now, what is the role of a new column? New column basically creates a new column in the table that you have selected. A new column is created on a row-wise calculation. Example, let's say if I go to the calendar table, over here I have a date. Let's say if I wanted to extract a month from it. Now, when I want to extract a month from the date, I'll have to create a whole column of date. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
what I do is I'll do a right click and I'll create a new column. Why a new column? Because I can't return one value. Think about this. Measure is going to be a calculation on a table or a column and returning you one value, like total sales. So total sales are not going to be in each row. Total sales is one value. That's a measure. And calculated column is what? When you're creating a new column in your table and your calculations are happening on the row wise. So if I say create a new column, automatically you will see on the top, this area gets populated. I can give the name to the column, let's say month. And then I can write my function, like there is a function called month, which is exactly the same thing that we use in Excel. And then based on which date, I'm going to give it based on the calendar date and close the bracket and press enter. I get the months. Now you see over here in AW calendar, a new field, a new column has been created called month. And this kind of symbol is there, which depicts it has been created using DAX function and it's a column, right? As a result of it, if I go to the main table, can you see this column created now? Which was not there before. So what we did, we created a new column for our table by using a function of month. Make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
Isha.
Repeat it once
Yeah.
again.
So basically, two type of calculations fall under DAX. One is calculated column and one is called a measure. Measure is something like these kind of numbers, like what you get on the cards, which does a calculation on the entire column or the entire table. And calculated columns are the one in which you're creating absolutely a new column based on other columns of other tables or this table and doing it on the row basis. Okay, so we created this column called calculated column called month. Simply name the column equal to what function I want to use. I've used over here.
So Shani, the options are here in these three dots, right?
The options are there in 3 dots.
Where is it? The option you
Which
selected?
option? Oh, when you right click,
Okay.
you see this new column, new measure.
Ishani, can you do it once again for the months as you have
Okay.
done?
Sure. I'll delete it. Okay, so right click on calendar, new column, and new column giving the name. And then using the function, there is a month function, and on calendar date, giving the date as a field. So month of which day do I want to extract? I want to extract of the calendar date. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Isha.
All right. Now, what is a measure? Like I said, measure is a one single value that you're getting by doing a calculation on the entire column or working on a table, right? Now, in measures, we have two type of measures that we work with. One is called implicit measure and one is called explicit measure. Okay. I'll talk about implicit, explicit, then I'll take you through my slide deck. So what is an implicit measure? What is an explicit measure? Like you saw last time, that any time if I have a numerical field like sales, like order quantity, and you drop it, what it does by default? It'll do a sum, it will do an average, it will do an aggregation on top of it. Yes or no? What I mean is, I created a column, I created a card, I went to, let's say, sales data, I dropped in order quantity. What it did? It did an aggregation. How did it do with aggregation? It picked the entire column of your order quantity and did a sum function on it.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
And if I click over here, I can do an average of it also, min, max, count, all the calculations I can do over here. So this is also called a measure, but these are called implicit measure. Why implicit? Because these measures are simply created by dropping your numerical field in your visualizations. And if I want to further use this thing, if I want to further use the sum of order quantity in some other calculation, I will not be able to use it. Why I will not be able to use it? Because there is nothing called total order quantity over here. Yes?
Yes, Ishani,
Yes.
that makes
Yes,
sense.
Shani.
Makes sense? And the other way of working and getting this number was through explicit measure. And how do we create it? Using DAX. So right clicking on sales, going to new measure. Over here, I'll say total order quantity and use the function. Which function can I use?
Sum
Sum function, absolutely. Sum function on the order
quantity.
Close the bracket. So sum function on the order quantity will give me this number. And as a result of it, you see a measure got created. Now this is a measure. Okay. If I create a card and I drop this total quantity, this will both give me the same output. However, if I wanted to find the percentage return, how would you find the percentage return? How much percentage is returned? How would we find it out?
Total orders and divided by return.
Total quantity divided by return quantity, total divided by total quantity. Right?
Yeah.
Now, can I use this calculation? I can't,
No.
because it doesn't exist anywhere in my table. However, if I had created a measure for the return also, let's say create a measure, and I'm going to call it total return quantity. Same thing, sum function on return quantity. Yes, everybody agrees, and this is correct.
Yes.
Sum function on return
Yes.
quantity.
Yes.
So now
Divided
I've
by
got two fields. Now I've got two fields. One called total return. One is called total order quantity. Now, if I want to do a new calculation where I'm, kind of calculating a percentage return, I can simply create another measure by right clicking, new measure. We will call it as percentage return.
It's
And
like
what will that
duplicate.
be?
It's like duplicate we make in query.
Yes. Like you were doing calculated field in your Power Queries when you were doing statistics feature.
Right.
That
We
is
are
what
making
it is doing.
duplicate.
Yes. So over here, if I say total quantity return, now I can use it because it's a measure I created. But if it was an implicit measure, I can't call it for other calculations, right? So I can say return divided by the total quantity ordered, and that's it. I get my percentage return. This value is over here. I just want to format it from general to a percentage. And now if I create a card and put a percentage return, there you go. I have a total of 2.17%. Right? So did you understand what is the difference between implicit measure and an explicit measure? Everyone is clear? What is
yes,
the difference
Ishani.
between implicit
Ishani,
and
can you
explicit?
please
Yes.
show that formula once again? The percentage return one.
Yes. So first thing I did was calculated the total return. This is clear to everyone?
Yeah. Okay.
Percentage return is just total quantity return divided by ordered quantity.
Okay. So we can use the existing measure while creating a new one. Okay.
New ones, yes. Again, when you think about a percentage return, you have to understand that, okay, am I trying to do it on a row basis or am I trying to get one single value? If I'm trying to get a one single value, it's a measure. And if I'm going to create row-wise calculation and
Then you
creating a
write a
new
column.
column, then it's a column.
Right.
You all want to create it very quickly? Try to create this percentage return.
Yes.
Sure, Ishani.
Yes, Ishani.
Please do that. And we
Okay.
can, yeah.
Shani, what is the difference between new measure, new quick measure?
I always hope in my trainings nobody asks about the quick measure part. New quick measure basically helps you to think about what kind of measures you can create. And in new measures, you have to think and write it. So when you go to quick measure, it gives you a bunch of calculations that are possible on the, on various kind of calculations, like you can do a percentage difference, you can do subtraction, addition, those kind of a thing. So it gives you an understanding of, okay, this you can think in this direction to calculate. But at the end of the day, you are writing a formula to get it. It just gives you a thought that this can be done. But the challenge over here, I feel, is then you don't think on your own of what all is a possibility. We are too much dependent on what is there in the list. That's why I was saying I try to avoid. Ronnie, too soon. The feedback has to be done at 3 p.m., not before that, all right?
Okay, ma'am. I was said.
Alright.
I thought
No,
beginning.
no.
Okay, ma'am.
3 p.m. Let me know if you're done.
Done, Ishan.
Done. Done. Anyone left or all done?
Shani, my
Can you
files
just
are
give me a
not
minute?
open. File is not opening, so I think I need to clean up some stuff.
See,
So,
right?
so I'll do it later on.
All right.
I understood that.
Okay. Ankita, Sunil.
1 minute, Ishani working on it.
All right. Sandeep.
Ishani,
Yes,
I'm getting an error. Can't display the visuals.
Can't display the visuals, and it's like all blank and one can't display the visuals. Memory space problem or no?
Can I show my
Yes,
screen?
absolutely. Just click on this thing, click on it. No, not see details, just click on the visual. Okay. All right, show me the percentage return, total return, total quantity. Okay, percentage return. Total return divided by total order. Okay, show me total return. Sum of this and show me total order quantity. All right, Karan.
Why it's product key?
Why he has put up key?
Where is
Return product key, product key,
Product return fund.
return product key.
I somehow missed it. I was reading Karan's message. Click on total returns once again. Oh yeah,
That's product key.
not product key, on return quantity. Return quantity, quantity, quantity. Yes, enter. I think I'll give 10 extra points to anybody who helps to solve other people's query. I'll reduce my work. Okay, let's go and check your total quantity now. Total quantity. Let's total order quantity. Let's look at that also. What you have added over there. Order number. See everything. Arshad.
Try to remove this card and add new one.
No, just remove order number and put
Oh.
quantity. You're working with quantities, right?
Sorry, I have taken the.
I think you were
Oh.
typing too fast. Type in order quantity. Yes. Enter. Now something is coming up. Good job. So
Yes.
now all you need to do is click on, don't go to format on the top. No. Click on the percentage return in your fields on the right side. Click on that percentage return. Correct. Now you see format is general right now. Underneath view help format. Yeah, click here and make it percentage. Done.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else who needs help?
Shani, my just
Ashish, share your screen.
just a minute. I have done. I am just checking. Give me a minute.
Ishani, I'm also facing some issue. I'm not getting the total order quantity option in the
All right.
percentage.
Please
Yeah.
share your screen. See, when you are, I know I've jumped into measure to show you an example, but it's very important to know where you're creating these measures, right? So type in total order, total return quantity, order quantity,
I need order
return
quantity.
quantity. Where did you create a total return quantity? Oh, you've created that as a column. In fact, both of them you've created as a column. It's not a measure you are creating. So that's wrong.
Oh, okay. Both are
Okay, all of them are column. These are measures. Okay, all of them you've created as a column.
Okay, I'll fix it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, before you guys fix it, can I grab your attention for just 2 minutes? when you look at my screen, the total return was 2.17. And when I say, okay, let me use this thing and see out of 2.17, how much is come by accessories, how much has come by bike, how much is by clothing, is this giving me the right percentages?
No.
No, right? So I don't know 2.17, which one has the highest return. Do I look at that? Am I looking at that?
No,
Otherwise,
No.
it's in.
So
It's incorrect.
2.17 is not exactly the bifurcation of these three. How it is done, if I'm getting a return of 1.97, it's based on what was the total order quantity of accessories divided by the return, and then I'll get 1.97. So it's not that total was 8417 and the return was this. Out of this, what's a percentage in accessories, bikes, and clothing? So why it is happening? Just because this is how filtering happens in any visualization tool. Whatever value you drop, that value gets filtered, that gets divided based on the field that you're dropping in your visualization. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Now, in order to get that answer, we will have to create one more DAX measure called using a function called all, so that I can divide 1130 by 1828, 429 by 1828, and so on and so forth. So we'll do that later, but just wanted to let you know that when you're looking at a visualization, also try to see that where it's making sense to look at the totals at the bottom. Are they matching up with what I'm looking on the top or not? Got it? Okay, should I wait for a couple of minutes before all of you finish it off? Or we are done? How many of you are still working on it?
I just need 2 minutes.
2 minutes, all right. Deepika,
2 minutes only.
I need 2 minutes.
Yes, Ishani.
done?
Yes, Ishani.
All right. Dhirendra? Imran?
Doing it.
Tushar? Done? Okay. Neil? Saikat?
You need 2 minutes. Just I wrote it.
2 minutes.
So I'm working
All
on
right. So 2 minutes, I think everyone should be done. If anybody is still stuck, do let me know.
It takes time to save. I don't know. It's still just
It
moved on.
is slow. So make sure you guys are not having anything in the background. which
Yeah,
is
everything is
running.
being closed from my side.
Just make more space for Power BI. It
Ishani,
is
could you
slow.
help-
It is slow.
Ishani, I'm getting the error on the syntax. Could you help me with this?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
Return is the percentage return. All right.
I have created the measure here.
Where? Oh, but first you need to do is create 2 more measures. You need a total return quantity and total quantity. Then you can find, or you can find it like this also. Okay, I can help you with this. You can find directly without making them also. Write sum
Yes.
in the brackets. Return quantity. Type in return. Type in return. Are you able to see something called return quantity?
Return quantity, yes.
Close the brackets. Divided by sum total quantity. Whatever the name is, total quantity, or what is it called? It's called order quantity, sum of order quantity.
Okay.
Close the bracket, press enter. Worked? I can't see anything on your screen. It's a card. Let's create a card. Pick a card from the visualization on the right side.
Yes. And then?
And then drop this percentage return. Working? Just change it into percentage.
In the format.
So format will only come in your field list. Go and select percentage return, then you will see the format on the top.
Okay, so where we have to change for the percent to
Look at my screen once. So if you click over here on percentage return, then you will get the format.
yeah, I've got the format screen, but here
And percentage, not the format screen. In the measure tool, it will fall under measure tool format. It is percentage. In your case, it will be general.
yeah, Ishani got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I made Shikhar do was I made him calculate the percentage return without these two measures. You can do that, but if you make tiny measures, it kind of makes it easier in future. If I want to use any of it, I can disintegrate it also. So the way I made him create this other one was new measure. I'll just show it to you and I'll delete it. I don't want multiples. So return to, for example. And if I have not calculated the previous two, so I made him do a sum function here only. So whatever was the calculation in those measures, putting it over here. So return quantity divided by sum of order quantity. This will also give you the exactly the same result, but over here we have put the sum function twice and then got it. Okay. But Shikhar, what we did was we created a measure called total return. We created a measure called total order quantity, and then we divided both of them without a sum function.
So this one return to we have done without using the fields which we have created, right?
Create return to is created without actually creating the other two measures.
Okay.
But same output. Okay, move on, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just a reiteration of the key attributes of a calculated column. Allows you to create a new formula based column to a table. So it creates a new column. There is no A1 style. Why I wrote this thing, typically we think about calculation in terms of Excel. So there is no A1, B1, there is no cell reference. When these calculations are done, it is done based on the entire column or the tables. They generate new values for each row and they are visible in the data view. What this means is, this is my data view. So once you create a calculated column like we did in case of calendars, we are able to see it as a new column in our data view. But measures are never visible. Measures only appear in your visualization. Other than that, you won't see these numbers sitting anywhere. And they do not, they understand the row context and they are useless for aggregations like sum and average. What this particular line means that if I create a calculated field, a calculated column, and I do a sum function. So how will it apply a sum function on a calculated column? It is basically going to work on a row basis, right? So if I have this order quantity and if I say sum of order quantity, it is doing sum of one, sum of one, sum of one. So that's why it's written. It is useless to use any kind of aggregation function while creating a column, because the way it works on the row context. It works on each and every row of your column to create a new column. Is this point clear? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, could you
Please repeat this.
Repeat this. Absolutely. So when you are doing a calculated column, right, what it is essentially doing, it is working on the row basis. So let me pick a table. Let's say sales table, right? Sales table, I've got these two things, product cost and the price. And I created this sales, right? So how did this sales column get created? It was price minus cost on the row level or on the column level?
row level?
It happened on the row level, correct? So this is a kind of a calculated column we created. So if I have to create this in DAX, how will I create it? Right click. I can't make a measure. Measure will work on entire column. I want to work on the row level. So it's new column. I'll just name it as sales 2. And what is it? It's the price minus the cost. So how is it working? It will take the first row price cost, subtract, second row price cost, subtract. So these calculated columns appear in your tables. So that's why sales 2 is coming. And oh, I didn't multiply by unit. That's why it's different. And it is showing you the difference between price and cost. Correct? There's some problem.
Yeah, we did sales quantity
Oh,
into
I did profit.
cost.
I did profit. I've calculated profit per item because I did price minus cost. So this is a profit. It's not sales. Sales would be price
Yes.
into quantity.
To quantity.
No wonder the okay. So what I showed you right now is the calculated column for finding the profit per unit. Got it? So this happened on row level. So it did not completely use your entire price or entire cost and then, you know, total price minus total cost and subtraction. That's not my profit. I've done per unit profit on the row basis. Is it now clear what you mean by row context?
Yes.
Now, if I do a sum on it, like if somebody puts a sum function on it, it'll not give you any results, right? If I do, okay, sum of this. So whatever is this minus this, whole of it sum. So it'll start to give me errors also because it doesn't make sense to put it in this fashion. All right. Next thing was, it is typically used when we want to create a static and a fixed value in each row of a table, and they do not understand the filter context, so do not aggregate. So we are not going to aggregate them. When it comes to your measures, these are used to create some values, and they refer to entire column or table. They are not visible anywhere, and they can be used only in your report view, in your visualizations. And they're very similar to your calculated field in pivot table. So in pivot table, if you remember, we had calculated field that did not show up in our main table. Did it show up in our main tables? Never. But if I wanted to use it for a visualization, I could. That's the only place it was used. If I wanted to drop it in my tables, I could use it. But in my master tables, there was no change because of that. So those are the things that measures are doing over here. And they are evaluated based on filter context, which means they change when the field or the filter changes around them. And this is an example of that. 2.17 was the value we had, but it changed based on the filtering based on category name. And the last, use when a single row is not going to give us any answers, then we have to aggregate it. Like if I wanted to find out overall percentage return, I had to do on the total quantity and total return. Right? Now there are 3 ways of, in fact, there are 4 ways of putting columns and measures. What are the ways? My way, you have understood. My way is to always go to a proper table where you want to add it on. Right click, and then you will see measure or column. Other way of doing it could be, one second. Other way of doing it is when you are, no, this is table. Modeling. Yes, it happens in modeling. So for example, over here, this creates your column and this creates your measures. Okay. This is for a table. This is, oh, sorry, new measure is this one, and this is your column. I don't use these icons too much. I just right click. I prefer that. But you can also go to modeling. You can click on new measure. You can click over here to create a column. But when you are clicking, you have to be a little careful that have you selected the right table or not. Because if you're clicking here and your table selection is wrong, wherever you have selected, it moves to that table. Not that we can't bring it back, we can, but why unnecessary put it in some other table and then bring it back? And what is the other way? Data view, right click on the column, Another way is data view. Right click on the column and then you will get new measure and new column from where you can create it. And the last way is right click on the report view and select new measure or a column. So right click on a report view anywhere and you get new measure and new column. So I prefer selecting the table in which I want to place it and then measure or column. So I can do it in the data view, I can do it in the report view, I can do it modeling by new measure and column. So these are the three ways. Implicit, explicit measures I've already told you. Implicit are created when you drag and drop a numerical feed in the value for visuals. It's a manual aggregation, but it can be only used in a specific visualization and not referred anywhere else. Explicit are created using the formulas and they can be used in different calculations. So far, so good. Yes. This you guys have already done, percentage return. Let's do the next part. Create a product table. In the product table, create a product profit, which is a calculated column, which is price minus the cost. Do this. So you have already created three measures. You've created total quantity, you have created total return quantity, you've created percentage return. These three you've already done. You just have to create a column where you are calculating the product profit. And in which table should we have it? In product table, since it's a product profit. And that is price minus the cost.
Done.
Right?
Done, Ishani.
Done.
Done, Ishan.
All right. Lalit done, Prasad done, Imran done, Kshitiz, Shweta, and Tanu done. So this is the old done. Ankita,
Please say the call.
RK.
Ishani done.
All right. Sanjeet, it seems you're still stuck with your Power BI.
Yeah, Ishani, I had opened it several times. I had to do it later on.
Okay. All right. Vivek,
I'm doing.
doing it. Gunjan is a silent student in all the tools. He knows everything. He doesn't say too much. I was telling someone in my team, this guy Gunjan, he knows pretty much everything we want to teach. And then my team member goes, but he never talks. So I am not sure about what you're saying.
Done, Ishani.
Done.
I have created the column in product fact table.
Yes, correct. That's where it should be. Yash, what about you? Pezel is not there, it seems, today. Otherwise, he typically asks me a lot of questions. No questions from your side, Vikas?
No, Ishani, all good.
All good. All right. Sitaram?
Done, Ishani.
Done.
Done, Isani, already.